Hakadosh Boker Or Masechet Ketubot Daf Amud Aleph 75a1. We are by the Mishnah on the bottom of the page. Hayu ba mumin. Okay, so imagine the Mishnah is talking about over here, right? Hayu ba mumin. So the woman has a mum, right? She's got blemishes. So here we're talking about, right, that she has blemishes on her body, right? But we don't know exactly did they form, right? So hayu ba mumin ve'oda bevet aviyah, and she's still in her father's house, which means now we have a safek, a doubt. Did the mum come after the irusin or before the irusin? Remember, in the olden days, right? There was the first process of marriage was engagement, but the engagement of olden days was a real marriage. It means if somebody actually slept with her, their death penalty, because she's considered a married woman. The only difference is that they don't live together until after the year. But there was a year, right, for her to prepare herself to get married. So they used to come and they used to do the rusin, and after the rusin, they used to wait 1 year for the nisuin. Now he gets married to her, right? She's perfect, yeah, from top to bottom. Yeah, he made sure, whether it's with his family members or whatever it is, right? Everything's fine. All of a sudden, right, she gets a blemish. Right? Now, we don't know when the blemish came. Was it before or after the rusin? Okay, now obviously she's still in her father's house, correct? Oda bevet aviyah. So he says like this: Ha'av tzarich la'avir ra'aya mishentarsa hayu b'mumina elanu v'nistab chasadeu. The father has to bring. Yeah, you took the ruler home, right? Okay, right? He comes and he says what happened is that the father has to bring a proof that what? That the blemish came after the irusin, meaning that when she got engaged, which is the first step of marriage, right? Everything was perfect, and it came after the irusin. Now, if it comes after the irusin, what's halacha? Nistab chasadeu. Nistab chasadeu means it's your problem. Why? It came afterwards. Right, mazal wara. It's his mazal. If he went and he got engaged and she was perfect, and after the engagement something happened, that's his mazal. Huh? There's a Mishnah. Nichnasa lirshut habal. Once she comes into the possession of the husband, habal tzarich lavi raya she'ad shelo nitar sayu b'mumina v'lo ve'aya mitcho mekach taut. Divrei Rabbi mean. Chachamim omrim b'med omrim b'muni shebaseter. Right? Everyone understood what happened. Basically, this is the concept of a motzi mechavaro v'la. A motzi mechavaro v'la means that it's incumbent upon you to bring the proof. Now, it depends where the money is, right? So, like, for example, right now, she's married to the husband, right? But she's still in the father's house. So, since she's still in the father's house, she has to, meaning her father has to bring the proof that it came after the engagement. Because if it came before the engagement, she loses everything, okay? However, though if it came after the engagement, he loses out, the husband. If now she already goes to the husband's house and now they find the blemish, so according to Shitat Rabbi Meir, the opposite. Now it's the husband, right, that he has to come and bring the proof. When was the blemish? Because if the husband cannot bring the proof, the onus now is on him. He has to bring the proof. If he cannot bring the proof, now he has to pay up the full dollars. However, the Chachamim say, it all depends. One of these words, only things which are hidden underneath the clothing. And therefore, you can't know about it during the time of the Irusin, right? Ainei amud bet. Aval. Bemumin shebagalui. But any blemish, 1 second. Bemumin shebagalui. Any mum which is going to be revealed, eno yachol liton, he cannot say that. Why? Because if it's revealed, the guy's not blind, right? You could see it, right? A woman, she's a hunchback. You didn't see it. What? You're blind. You don't see. You can come out to, no, when I got married. Oh, it's something galui. You don't understand. So obviously, that's it. Says the Gemara, the Mishnah, if there's a bathhouse in that city, they cannot be toen even in a mum shebaseter. Right? Why? Because he's going to check her through the family members. What does that mean? In the olden days, there was such a thing as a public bathhouse. It's not like nowadays that everyone has their own bathhouse. What? Yeah, the hammam and all these things. So what happened? In the olden days, they used to go to, it was public, right? So therefore, what happens is that if they're going there, so therefore, everyone already knows that she has a blemish or not a blemish. There's people are there without clothing, and they're all together. It's a bathhouse. You understand? So therefore, what happens is that because of that, he already knows through his family members that be'emet, is there something or not? So the fact that he already knows, right? So therefore, there's going to be, right, this same halakha as we just mentioned. Ha'ama, the reason why the husband has to come and pay the ketubah, right, is because it was found in the house of the father. So therefore, the father has to bring the proof. But if the father does not bring a proof, so then the husband's believed, and therefore he could divorce her without giving her the ketubah. Remember, the ketubah is a lot of money. Even nowadays, a lot of people, when they get married, they give a ketubah, and the ketubah, they could put 50,000, right? 15, 20 years ago, that was a lot of money. You understand? Even nowadays, I was buy a wedding, depends on who, obviously, right? But they come 500,000, right? 260, 360,000. You understand? It's a lot of money. So a man will come and think twice. Listen, you know what? He's not just going to come and put in so much money and then just, get, he has to think. So here he's trying to get out, right? He's trying to come, right? He's trying to come and he's trying to get out of the problem. Money. So who is the Mishnah? Why? Who is the author of our Mishnah that he holds that basically the husband's going to be believed and then he could get rid of her without giving her the ketubah? Answers the Gemara, Rabbi Yoshua. It's Rabbi Yoshua, the Amar, that he says, Lo mipiha anu chayim. What does that mean? If a woman was found not to be a virgin, right? She wasn't found to be a virgin. So what happens? They come and they say, oh, what happened to you? She comes and she says, no. She was violated, but when? After the Erusin. So after the Erusin, she was violated. So says the Gemara, Lo mipiha anu chayim. What does that mean? We don't rely upon her words. We're going to start saying, you exactly were violated right after the Erusin. Maybe you were violated before, or maybe you fooled around before, right? Now, by doing that, you lose the ketubah. What?
Or after?
Or after is much worse, because afterwards she gets killed, and he gets killed. And some before, she wouldn't get killed.
What happened to him?
What does that mean? Even though there's a cheskata guf, which says that she was a betula b'shat erusin, we don't have that to say that the chazakah is going to take out money from the husband. So therefore, we're not going to believe her. So Ema Seifa says a Seifa nichnasa l'shut, but once happens if she comes into the possession of the husband, now all of a sudden habal sarich laviraya. Now the husband has to bring the proof. Tama, the reasoning is there might be about raya that he has to bring a proof. Halomaiti bar raya, but if he did not bring the proof, ha'av meheman, the father is going to be believed. That goes to term here that says that she's going to emet it, which means like this. Basically, this is a very general concept, right? You come and you sold the product to somebody. He comes and he says it was defective, it never arrived, or whatever the case is. Who's incumbent upon to come and to bring the proof?
Amazon.
So until now, we're saying, right, that what? That it's the person that's a sender until it gets to your hands. Once it's into your hands, and now you're using it, now it's upon you. That's what we're trying to say until now. It's true, nowadays it all depends on the countries. Many times there's different rules, right? Here in America, you could give things back even afterwards and just say that, whatever it was, and there's no problem. Other places, you have to actually bring it and prove it. It all depends on the country, but these are just, it's the same concept that we're talking about. So Amar Rabbi Elazar says Rabbi Elazar, Tavra, you're right. There is a stira between the beginning of the Mishnah and the end of the Mishnah. But the beginning of the Mishnah was of Yoshua, that we don't rely upon her. And the end of the Mishnah, we are relying upon her. So Misha Shanazdo, Lo Shanazdo. Whoever taught the Reisha did not teach a Seifa. So Amar Rava says, no. Lo tema Rabbi Yoshua lo azil batar chazaka de gufa klal, ela kilo azil Rabbi Yoshua batar de chazaka de gufa, hecha deika chazaka de mamona. Which means like this. Basically, we go like Rabbi Yoshua. When exactly are we going to come and say that he doesn't go after cheskata guf? Cheskata guf is a cheska on the body. She was until now a virgin. That's what we always say. All of a sudden now, right, he has relations with her the first time, and he says, oh, there's a problem here. You're not a virgin. So therefore, we come and we say, one second, when do we say that we don't go after chazakah guf, right? Usually we do. But here there's the chazakah mamon. Who has the money? The husband. You want to take away money from the husband? You have to prove it now. You have a chazakah of the body, right? That you're a betula, right? Because stam nashim, they were betulot, right? Obviously, it depends where they are and everything, but the situation, right? But he comes and he says, but here, you have a chazakah of a guf. What is the chazakah of the guf? Chazakah of the body, right, does not help against the chazakah of the money. Where's the money? You want to take money out of the husband? You prove it. That's what we're trying to say. That's what we're trying to say. So says the Gemara, right? But if you don't have Chazakat Mamon, that's Rabbi Yoshua, but Chazakat Gufa. Then you do go after Chazakat. It's done. Because we learned in the Mishnah, Im Baheret, Kodem Leseah Lavan, Tameh. Im Seah Lavan, Kodem Baheret, Tahor. Safek, Tameh. Rabbi Yoshua Omer, Keha. What does that mean? We know there's a concept of, what is this? Tzara'at. Right? What is the concept of tzara'at? Tzara'at we know is that if a person all of a sudden has white spots, if you want to call them. Okay, they have white spots. So, right, nowadays sometimes they actually call it vitiligo, right? But it all depends, vitiligo, right? It's like basically it's like a white blemish, right? A white blemish. So says the Mishnah, remember that it says the Mishnah in Negaim, in order for it to be considered baheret, which is a type of a form of tzarat, of leprosy, it has to be the first, right? It's going to be the baheret before the se'ar lavan. Meaning, she first has to have the white spot, and then the white hair comes out of it. Okay? In baheret, kodem selavan, tameh. But what happens if she has the white hair and only afterwards comes the white spot? She's tahor. Okay, that's what the Mishnah says. Says the Mishnah, what happens if you have a safek? I don't know which one came first. Exactly. Was it the white hair or was it the white spot? So says the Gemara, the Mishnah safek, right? If it's going to be a safek, it's tameh. She's tameh, right? Rabbi Yoshua says keha. What does that mean keha? My keha. Amar Rabba says keha tahor, which means it's keilu keha, that it got deeper, it got right from the Mareh Abayid, and therefore it's going to be tahor. Right? Why? Because you have a chazakah of the body. So you see from here, Rabbi Yoshua is going like a chazakah on the body. There's no chazakah mamon here. Nobody's paying money here. Nobody's talking about money. So therefore, you go after the chazakah of the goof of the body. Rava comes and he says, Reisha, right? So this is now going to be, now that we just said that this is Shitav Rabbi Yoshua, that we do go after chazkat goof, unless there's chazkat mamon, which goes against it, which means we go after the chazakah of the body, unless there's a chazakah of money coming against it. Rava comes and he gives another answer. Reisha is talking about kan nimtzeu, kan hayu. There's a very famous concept in halacha, kan nimtza, kan haya. Here it was found, here it happened. Meaning, let's take the scenario. Where was it? So if it's right here, this is where it happened. If it's over there, it happened over there. Meaning that, where did you find it? That's what I'm going to say, that that's where it happened. Kan nimtza, kan haya. So he says, so what happens is, if she's still in the father's house, so I'm going to say that what? That it happened before the Rusin in the father's house. But if she's already going to be afterwards, which means that she already went to Seifa, right? She already went into the property of the husband. So now I'm going to say Kaninza Kanaya, right? Which is where it happened after she already went into the husband's possession, which means in the possession of the husband, not the possession of the father. So it's going to be after Rusin.
Doesn't tell us about the timing. Okay, she was still in the.
There's the Gemara. Abaye comes and he asks the following question: if she goes into the possession of the husband, right? The husband has to bring the proof that until she got engaged, she already had these blemishes. Until she didn't get engaged, right? Why? Why don't we say the same thing there? Meaning, the husband comes, right, and he finds that she has a blemish. Why don't we say kaninza kanaya, right? Then what? That really bad man. Since we're talking about that until now, we already found the blemishes, and she was bevet avia, and she was still in arusa. We say that automatically it happened beforehand. Meaning the same order of idea, the same concept of kaninza kanaya. I could say that if you find the blemish and she's right now in arusa, what is arusa? She's still in the husband's property, the father's property, right? So if she's like that, it happened beforehand. Kaninza kanaya, it happened before. Why does the husband now have to bring a proof? It was before Erusin, after Erusin. Kaninza kanaya, it happened beforehand. If it happened beforehand, it's automatically that he doesn't have to pay anything up, right? That's what he says. So Amaleh Rava comes and he answers to Abaye. Mishenitarsa mishum diika lemima chazakan adam shote bekos ela imken botko v'hai ra'av v'nipayesu. There's a chazakah. When you're going to take a cup, right, before drinking from the cup, you're going to look inside, even if the cup's empty. Right? You're going to look inside, even if the cup's empty, right? Or even if it's full, you always look inside a cup before you come and you start drinking something. Since there's a chazakah that you look into the cup before drinking it, so you saw your wife before getting engaged to her. And if remember, engagement is the engagement of the Torah. So therefore, the fact that you still got engaged, it's a chazakah that what? That you saw it and you accepted it. Right? You knew it. It wasn't a surprise to you. Right? You know it. You have a chazakah. Yes, obviously. Obviously, we're talking about this revealed. So says the Gemara, if so, right? Even until the Irusin, also it's the same thing. So we say which means like this. So the question was, right? Even if he's going to bring a proof that she has the mumin, right, before the Irusin, also we should say that then, right? So why do we say that he's going to be patur? Meaning, if he came and he brought up proof that she had a mum beforehand, so then he doesn't have to pay it up. Why? Right? So we have another chazakah. The chazakah is that a person does not become appeased from a mum. Meaning, if a person knows that she has a blemish, he's not going to take her. It's a chazakah. So achanami, so to hear the same thing. There's a chazakah that a person is not going to be appeased, right, if she has a mum. Ela, but rather, it says the Gemara, so you know what, 1 second. When she gets engaged, she has 2 chazakot. What are the chazakot? Hameda guf al chazakaton. She has that her body is on the good chazakah. And number 2 chazakah, a person will always check. And therefore, if he already checked, he saw it, and he already was appeased. So, Maya Marta, why do you say chazakah nadami pays mumin? So even if you're going to tell me now that there's a chazakah that a person does not become appeased, that's chada bimkom tarte. That's 1 chazakah against 2. Chazakas, if remember, chazakas are basically, they are ideas, right? There are ideas, right? No, we pass in shalosh pamim, yes. Right? That's what we pass. Right? It's a machlok Rabbi Rashbag, but that's what we pass. Right? But basically like this, right? When we're talking about the entire concept of, right? When we're talking about the entire concept of chazakot are like legal, I'm going to say legal battles that you use, right? In order to win a case. So if you have 3 and I have 2, the 3 wins against 2. Why? You have chazakot. You go 1, 2, 3 against the 1, 2. So therefore, that's the way that it works. Here he comes and he says, you got 2 against 1. Why? Number 1, Hamed Chizka, right? Chizkat Aguf. What is Chizkat Aguf? The woman, until now, she was fine, without any blemishes, without anything. So I'm going to say the what? That she has Chizkat Aguf, that her body was okay. Number 2, a person will only drink in the cup we'll check it first. The fact that he didn't, or that means that what? He did check it, and he saw it, and he accepted it. Again, we're not talking about that it's hidden, because if no, we go back to the Gemara before. Right? No, it's 2 different things.
Right? You say she doesn't have a womb, it's because he checked it.
No, 2 different things. There's a chazakah of the goof on the body, even without him checking, without him even getting married. It's a default of the from the beginning, right? She's okay. The second one is that he checked it beforehand. So, but that's only going against 1, that there's a chazakah that a person wouldn't forgive on a move. Meaning, right? But that's the other one. The one which is on the other side. No, there's only 2. Right?